You're watching CBS 8 Mornings at 6.
So glad you're with us here at 6 a.m. on this Thursday. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Carrie Lane filling in for Netta Ranpur. Let's get to meteorologist Evan Irani for a check of the forecast. Temperatures are finally moving in the direction that I like to see this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that by the time we get to Halloween, it feels like
You would hope.
Like, yeah.
So kids aren't melting in their
We're not breaking into the 90s.
Yeah.
We were doing so yesterday. Now we're starting to see a little bit of a cool down today. Very small. We're talking 1 to 3 degrees or so this afternoon. The biggest change you're going to notice today is this, an increase in cloud cover. That is coming in the form of dense fog. So notice that we do have a dense fog advisory in effect across the coastal communities. That's all the way through 9 a.m. today. So just be prepared for the possibility of some of those clouds blocking your view out there and visibility being reduced. Along the coast, we're looking at mid-70s, still going to break into the mid-80s inland this afternoon and across the mountains. Deserts are going for 96, but take all of these temperatures and drop 10 to 20 degrees. That's what we're going to be expecting going into the beginning of next week. We're all gearing up for a chance of rain by Monday, Tuesday of next week. So enjoy the dry skies for now as those clouds start to build. Back to you two.
Well, a new push to clean up the cross-border sewage pollution is happening. And this morning, Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer will submit a petition to the Environmental Protection Agency.
CBS 8's Regina Yerita is live in Coronado, where that announcement's going to be happening here just a few hours from now. Regina?
Yeah, that's correct. Good morning, Carrie and Eric. And really, this idea comes from not only Mayor Paloma Aguirre, but also Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer, who have both been pushing for President Joe Biden to declare a state of emergency for the issues happening in the Tijuana River Valley. Although none of that has moved forward, they figure if they can start the process another way to get the federal government involved, this is the way to do it. So today, Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer is pursuing Superfund designation from the Environmental Protection Agency. She's submitting a petition in partnership with Imperial Beach Mayor Paloma Aguirre and national city leaders. Now, a Superfund designation provides funding to clean up pollution. It also helps hold responsible parties accountable while centering communities in the process. Lawson-Remer believes designating the area as a Superfund site will help address toxic waste. She also hopes it could unlock more federal money to clean up decades of sewage. So back out here, we do know that that press conference will take place around 11:30 this morning. We'll provide you with more details as we know more about this meeting and, of course, as local leaders start to gather. But that is the latest here coming from Coronado. I'll send things back to you guys.
Thanks, Regina. And you can watch that press conference live at 11:30 on the CBS 8 Plus streaming channel. All you have to do is download it on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV.
New this morning, a local nonprofit just won a lawsuit against border officials over a policy for asylum seekers.
CBS 8's Chris Groh is live in San Ysidro to explain what this all means. Good morning, Chris.
Yeah, good morning, Eric and Carrie. Let's first talk about the policy. It's called metering. It was previously a practice that was actually put into place back in 2016 here in San Diego because of a surge of Haitian migrants. Then the Trump administration expanded that to all other ports of entry. And what that allowed for border agents to do is to turn away migrants seeking asylum if they met a daily cap. So basically a daily intake of the number of migrants. They could also use that policy for a variety of other reasons, according to the lawsuit and to the nonprofit who argued on behalf of ending that policy. Now, this policy no longer was in effect. It was rescinded back in 2021, but this was a lawsuit that was filed by the nonprofit Al Otro Lado back in 2017. We just heard from the U.S. Federal Appeals Court that this is a 2-to-1 decision here of striking down that policy and actually affirming a 2019 lower court decision that said that this was not something that should be done, that all migrants should be accepted and should be actually inspected prior to them being turned away here from the border. And it was actually the Biden administration who argued in this case that the federal immigration law only applies once a migrant sets foot into the United States, but the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals disagreed. Now, We did hear from the nonprofit Al Otro Lado, who spoke here in an Instagram statement shortly after this decision came out. I want to read to you a part of this decision. It says, in part, quote, "Too many good people have died as a result of the metering policy. Too many were raped, sold, tortured, or disappeared because CBP turned them away. While the government can never wash its hands of its blood, it can choose to accept the loss today and stop wasting taxpayers' money to justify its repeated violations of the rights of asylum seekers trapped at the U.S.-Mexico border." And of course, that argument, a part of that court case as well, too, that those who were turned away and were not inspected would oftentimes be forced to stay on the other side of the border in cities like Tijuana and other places where they were potentially in danger. Of course, we'll have to see if the federal government will continue to fight this in court and where that could take us next. Eric and Carrie.
Chris, thanks for the update. Today, a preliminary hearing is expected to wrap up for the former Marine accused of murdering his girlfriend in a drunken rage. The judge will determine if there is enough evidence to go to trial. 41-year-old Raymond McLeod vanished and fled the country after the death of Crystal Mitchell in 2016. He was caught in 2022 in El Salvador. The defense argues the death was an accident, but prosecutors say McLeod has a violent past. Yesterday, a friend of McLeod's ex-wife testified that she witnessed McLeod abusing his ex-wife after she had expressed she was afraid of her husband. Right now, the state is considering releasing a sexually violent predator on transient status. That means Merle Wakefield would be released without a permanent address, but with 24/7 supervision. He may be placed in a hotel or mobile trailer. It could happen after a hearing on November 20th.
The family of 3 women killed in a Bluff collapse in Encinitas back in 2019 will be getting a $32 million settlement. Now, the suit was against the city of Encinitas, state of California, and the property owner where the collapse happened. The settlement includes an agreement for a public safety campaign and training lifeguards to warn beachgoers about keeping a safe distance from the bluffs.
Family does not look at this as victory at all. This is just the beginning of what we hope will be a campaign for public awareness.
Lifeguards say the general rule of thumb is look at the height of the cliff, envision a third of it, then stay at least that distance away from the cliff. This morning, local leaders are calling for tolls on State Route 125 to be removed. San Diego City Councilwoman Vivian Moreno, Assemblymember David Alvarez, and Chula Vista Mayor John McCann are making the plea to Sandag today. They say a recent audit shows there are problems with inaccurate billing. Councilwoman Moreno says removing the tolls would also help clear traffic congestion.
Taking a peek outside here, yeah, fall is going to be in full effect before we know it here, after we've been enjoying what's been lingering around as summer here the last couple of days.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Low 90s across some of our eastern valleys yesterday afternoon. Today, we're going to stay in a very similar range. We're not seeing any tremendous day-to-day cool down. It's very slow, incremental changes that we'll see daily. And that's going to lead to a pretty decent drop in temperatures between this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, and what we see by the beginning of next week, about that Monday, Tuesday stretch. Inland Valley still going for the mid-80s today. What we have to remember is that we have some of those coastal clouds building. So that's going to help to keep the coastline a hair cooler. It's also going to just help keep us socked in. So if you are maybe likely to get outside through the morning hours for a walk or run, be prepared for a little bit more cloud cover, maybe some reduced visibility, as opposed to that normal higher UV exposure and clear skies that we've been seeing since about Sunday. As those clouds build, they'll start to push a little farther east each day. So tomorrow into the weekend, we'll really start to see those clouds along the coast and inland, even toward the mountains. Mountains going for 85 this afternoon, 96 for the deserts. Santee and El Cajon, a high of 85 today. La Mesa, 80 degrees. Out close to the coastline, we still have mainly 70s in the forecast. 78 for Oceanside, 79 at Palomar Mountain, 83 in Poway, and 89 in Ramona. Across the mountains and deserts, we're still looking pretty warm for this time of year. Wouldn't normally be in the upper 90s in Borrego Springs. We're all going to see these temperatures slide as we get toward the beginning of next week. You can see on that 5-day forecast what Monday looks like. Tuesday could be even cooler, but for the next 4 days, we're still in that above normal range, mainly coming in the 80s each afternoon across our inland valleys, but really watching as those clouds build by Saturday, Sunday, and as a chance for rain comes in for Monday, Tuesday. Let's look at traffic, see how your roads are today. So far, we have been very quiet out there. There hasn't been any major crashes or collisions to report. We'll take you to one that just popped up here, this on the 94. Right-hand shoulder is blocked with the crash on the 94 eastbound at Lemon Grove Avenue, not causing any major backups in either direction. Volume is still very light here at the 6 o'clock hour, early 6 o'clock hour. CHP is on scene, however. They're working to clear that. We'll let you know once we see it completely cleared. Looking at your reporter wait times as you head out the door. San Ysidro Port of Entry, 110-minute wait. Otay Mesa Port of Entry, you should be able to get across almost double that speed. Just going to take you about an hour at Otay Mesa versus the nearly 2 hours it could take you at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Carrie and Eric.